also inactive because of long-term ill health. So that's the sort of picture on, maybe we've got a little bit of a return to pre-pandemic health in terms of the jobs market. But if we think about pay, there's sort of a really quite unusual story going on. We've got this really high and abnormally high pay growth over the last few months.
Yes, except I suppose in real terms it's not.
Yeah, I guess that's an important part. So over the last few months, we've sort of experienced really high rates of nominal pay growth, so excluding the impact of inflation, higher rates of annual growth in pay than we're used to for the last sort of 22 years or so. But of course, exactly as you say, if we account for inflation, real wages are actually falling.
Yeah, it's a bit of a vicious circle, isn't it? Because there will be some concern, won't there, that rising wages could actually fuel inflation?
Yeah, that's exactly right, and I think that's sort of stoking some of the concern from policymakers, analysts, and particularly the Bank of England. Of course, domestically produced inflation, so inflation that comes from things like rising wages, is something that the bank could and should do something about. And so it's hardly surprising that they're sort of seeing these abnormally high rates of nominal pay growth as a cause of concern.
Would you expect interest rates to keep rising?
So as I sort of said, we could expect that one way that the bank would deal with domestic produced inflation, as they have done over the last few months, is to raise interest rates. Obviously, what that will do is it'll make more expensive to borrow money and encourage people to save. Obviously, the reverse is that obviously for people, rising wages is a good thing, and this all comes at with the backdrop of not just the last few years, last year or so we've had falling real wages. We've actually got a backdrop of real wage stagnation over the last 15 years. So I think it's important to situate where we are in terms of the sort of historic 15-year period of real wage stagnation.
Overall, how would you say the economy is doing right now?
I guess it's difficult to say. There's lots of moving parts. We've experienced quite a sort of different and unique post-pandemic reopening and surging inflation. Sort of more difficulty hiring and workers building up wages. Sort of fairly unique period over the last 18 months and definitely a few years. I guess what we can probably expect over the next few months, and maybe even now, given that the pay data is lagged, that we might expect to return to real pay growth. Obviously, this is against the backdrop of falling wages, a real wage stagnation over the last 15 years.
Okay, Charlie, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. That's Charlie McCurdy, who's an economist at the Resolution Foundation. Well, mortgage costs have also hit the highest level for 15 years. The rate in a 2-year fixed deal surpassed the peak in the aftermath of the mini-budget. The average rate in such a deal is now 6.66%, and that's a level not seen since August 2008 and the financial crisis. Well, Anthony McGoldrick is a mortgage advisor with Mortgage Wise Scotland and joins us now. Well, that won't be good news for people wanting to borrow.
No, definitely not. It's I think it's quite difficult times for people at the minute. We're certainly seeing people kind of make